We are back. I am Jon Najarian, and he's Matt Montemayor, and I guess our voices weren't going out. Just some wonky stuff with the freeware that we're using to broadcast. But CJ Reichel and Monty run the crypto room over at Market Rebellion. Sorry that we got cut off there, folks. It's just one of the things about using freeware, I guess. But on the other hand, it's kind of DeFi, isn't it? It's decentralized. Anyway, welcome, folks. This is the Daily Crypto Byte. We're going to give you guys a little update on what's going on with not just our Doges of the day, but with crypto in general. As we had tried to start just minutes ago, my question to Monty was, other than Bitcoin being 60% and maybe Ethereum 20% of the trade in the crypto universe right now, what else are people in the room talking about with this crypto room that you guys run, Monty?
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about running the crypto room is we kind of get a firsthand look at what the traders are talking about, what they're interested in. And we always talk about how these more exotic projects tend to appeal to retail traders. And I've found that to be very true in the room. So John, you were talking yesterday about T-Fuel. I saw people get really excited about that in the chat yesterday. It's performed very well for them. I know a lot of them had some great returns in just the last 24 hours. But assets like that, like the NFTs we've been talking about, Mana and Engine, these are the assets that I hear talked about a lot in the crypto room. These more lower cap, kind of still in a stage of price discovery and still finding their utility. I think that really appeals to the retail trader, and I've seen a lot of people talking about that stuff.
To your point as well, John, we get a lot of people in the community coming over from the unusual option activity room, and I think that's also why we get a lot of interest in blockchain-related stocks and options, as well as NFTs and some of those smaller altcoins. But I know Argo Blockchain was one of the ones we were talking about in the room yesterday, a mining company. But those are all good options as well, or just interesting ways to explore various methods of exposure on Bitcoin and crypto.
Well, one of the big pieces of news yesterday, guys, was that the lawmakers are actually trying to make some laws for a change. And they're actually trying to decide, okay, between the CFTC, which of course wants to say it's, many of these assets are currencies and thus under their purview, or whether it's the SEC, the legislative branch of the government wants to get a bill together to decide, okay, which one is it? And where do they fall so that we can make some regulations so that since so many companies now, as well as individuals, have bought into the idea of Bitcoin and other digital assets, they kind of need to know what the regulatory framework looks like. And for many of them, and for many of us, it's kind of uncertain. I mean, with the idea, one of the main reasons, guys, as you probably know, that the ETF hasn't been approved is it's really hard to determine a reference price that enough people could agree on is the price at that moment. Because the way ETFs work, of course, people are given cash to buy something. In some cases, it's baskets of stocks. In other cases, maybe it's that Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency. And how do you peg it at the end of the day? I mean, does it cash settle? Does it go into at the CME? Does it decide to go into futures? Does it actually go into the hard asset itself? Those are all sort of things that you need to have a reference price that people can agree on to do it. And that's one of the big things that's been a drag on getting an ETF out there. But it's getting closer, I think, guys, a lot closer.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, John, because that actually kind of ties in with one piece of news I wanted to talk about today. And that's Switzerland-based investment product provider 21 Shares is launching an ETP for Ethereum. And ordinarily, I wouldn't really think that's too much of a big deal, but CJ actually brought something to my attention yesterday during our webinar that I think is worth mentioning. So let me pull up this chart real quick. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin pair chart. And as you can see, since February, Ethereum has been massively underperforming compared to Bitcoin. And I think that's because of what you just said, John. Like, you need regulatory clarity for these vehicles to work. And this is the first real ETP for Ethereum that has regulatory clarity. It's backed one by one, one for one with Ethereum on a digital, stored in the cold storage. And also this exchange, or this company 21 Shares, has done this before. They did a ETP for Polkadot on February 2nd. And I have this price line here when they did the ETP. And as you can see, since then, price relative to Bitcoin, this is the Polkadot Bitcoin pair, it's done very well. So I'm expecting maybe we can see a similar performance from Ethereum here if we get this ETP on the market and institutions actually look at it as a legitimate vehicle. I think it could be really big for ETH and kind of flip the script here and allow it to start outperforming Bitcoin in this next market cycle. So going to be watching that pretty closely this week.
How about you, CJ, as we pour into the end of the week? Obviously, there's no weekend for you guys. It just keeps going and going and going. But I do notice a lot of the traffic falls off pretty significantly in the social room. Even though they can still trade it, there's not nearly as much going on the weekends. So what are you going to be looking for?
Yeah, well, it's interesting here now that we're going up and retesting all-time highs at around 58K. There's one level that has been pretty tricky to get over, and that's the that 57,500 level. It's just below, but it's derived from a TD setup resistance level on the 4-hour, and we've tested that level a couple times all throughout last night, but just have not really been able to break above it on sufficient volume yet. You're right, John, in the sense that we do get a little less busy on the weekends. There's a lot of, there's much lower volume as well, which does lead the chance to have, larger volatile swings. But it's going to be interesting to see how price reacts coming up on this resistance. But it's been a good run so far this week.
Yeah, and I just want to touch back on yesterday, John. You asked me what levels of support we have if we got rejected at this level. And we did get rejected. And I thought it was very encouraging that we found support here, bounced nicely off this setup support, put in a higher low, and are now headed back to this level. So encouraging stuff technically from the Bitcoin chart.
Well, I think without any further ado, guys, we got to get to the Doge of the day. With our little Doge
there he is.
animation. There he is. I love the Doge of the day. And I think a lot of people like the Doge of the day. I hope they do. But anyway, you were pointing out that our Doge of the day actually had a pretty interesting little move overnight. So maybe in the last 24 hours or so, Monty. Do you want to break down Theta Fuel?
Yeah, John, you brought that to our attention yesterday. You said you were looking at Theta Fuel. You were expecting a pretty nice move, and I wasn't expecting it to happen within 24 hours of you saying that, but sure enough, we got a 60% move in price in the last 24 hours. It's up to 32 cents. We've been watching T-Fuel for a while. It's pretty crazy that's at this price point. I mean, this is really taking off, and it's still kind of at a point where I think it could still increase tenfold because it's not yet at a level of adoption that is comparable at all to anything like YouTube or any other social media platforms, which is what it's setting out to do. So I think T-Fuel has a long way to run. But yeah, nice timing with your pick yesterday, John.
Well, and I think that might have been from Tuesday, not Wednesday, I think, because I think maybe it was Mana yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not positive. I've got them all on my phone here. So, and I've still got Doge as well. But I have a fresh Doge of the day for you. Polygon is my new Doge of the day. I'm jumping the shark and giving you guys mine first rather than following up on you guys. But Polygon is the one that I'm going with for my Doge of the day today. And as I said as we tried to say as we started the show, this is going to be about levels for me. So when you look at that chart, folks, and you look at that right side of the chart, those two bottoms, more or less, that it put in, both the breakout and those two bottoms are right around 28 cents. So that's a pivot for me. If I can get, you know, it's moving down slightly. It's 31 cents right now. Does it have to go down? Of course not. But I'm saying if we can get to that 28-ish level, I like getting in there and maybe playing for a pop into the 35 range or something like that. How about you guys, Monty, CJ?
So, yeah, my Doge of the day is going to be Uniswap.
I love Uni.
Yeah. Fees are a little rough on the exchange relative to like, you know, Pancake Swap and some of the others on Binance chain currently. Nevertheless, it's having some great sentiment scores on both the daily, hourly, and I like where it's at technically. You know, it hasn't yet found like true support and bounced up, but it's finding some nice balance after kind of that recent run up. Let's see, what was the high there? Looks like it went to about
34.9.
39.
34.9. Yeah.
Yeah, so just created a nice higher high. It's coming down, hitting previous support levels and seeing a little bounce with positive sentiment. So like Uni, we'll see how that goes.
On my Voyager app, it was 3106 or 07-ish just moments ago. And full disclosure, I own that one, like I say, like that. How about you, Monty?
I like that pick too, CJ, especially with the new Voyager monthly interest rates. I think they boosted that up to like 3.5 or 5.5%. So that's a good long-term hold too, not just a trade. But my pick this today, my Doge of the day is Basic Attention Token. And CJ will know this is one I've been bullish on for a long time. But the pop yesterday I thought was really big. We broke above this 80-cent level, a level that I never thought I'd see, at least this year. But very encouraging stuff out of BAT so far. Not only do I like the technicals of this, but I think it's one of the assets that has a more clear-cut utility. I use Brave browser myself. It's a great alternative to Chrome. Great way to support content creators online if you don't like watching ads and doing it that way. So there's some great utility here, great team working on Basic Attention Token. I've accumulated it just by using Brave browser, but I've also purchased some on Voyager because you can earn interest on it as well. So I think it's flirting with the breakout here at this level of 83 cents. And it's pretty crazy to think that it is setting itself up for a move above $1. So this is my Doge of the day today. And yeah, that's what I got.
Cool. Well, folks, remember, you can get into the chat room, be in there with all the charts and everything with Monty and CJ for just $1 for your first month, $1. And then if you like it, and we know you will, you can renew at $29. Thousands of people have taken them up on that, and the room is full of active crypto traders and some newbies that are coming over from the equity world, coming over from the other side of market rebellion into the dark side of crypto. But they're loving it. And boy, when you get something like Theta or Theta Fuel or any of these others, seeing 60% moves makes you feel like you're on Wall Street Bets, Reddit or something like that, because you don't get stocks moving 60% very often, but you do see it all the time in cryptos. So just encourage you guys. And by the way, remember, our sponsor is Voyager, as Matt and CJ mentioned. They are a crypto brokerage. They are regulated up in Canada. They are publicly traded, and they have 50 plus cryptos on the platform. They pay you interest on your deposited crypto, and there is zero commission. And you don't have to go to the market with every trade, zero commission, but you can still say, here's my limit. Here's what I'm willing to pay. So I like that a lot. And I think that's why they're growing so fast. I just saw an update this morning, guys, on the platform. So that was cool.
I think one of my favorite things about Voyager is that they have a guaranteed order fill mechanism. So they don't ever come back to you and say, hey, we partially filled your order at this price, and then, you know, a little bit at this price, like you might see on Robinhood. So with that being said, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Remember, you
Take
can
care.
subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube, type Market Rebellion, and you get all the videos if you subscribe for free right there on YouTube, and share it with a friend. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.